Welcome everybody. My name is Patrick Curley. I am the organizer of the Northeast Kingdom Tipsy Talks. This is our second season doing these Tipsy Talks. Our first year doing them at Jasper's. And what a great venue for this. I wanted to take a moment to thank Kathleen and Phil for organizing, providing us this space, mixing up great cocktails, opening up beer, pouring them into glasses. It's really appreciated. It's nice to be able to bring people downtown in Newport on a Tuesday night and patron an establishment that if it weren't here, Newport would look sadder perhaps. But this is all an effort to make Newport lively and bright. And so we love doing it. We really enjoy getting people out of their house and meeting neighbors and strangers and hearing tales of their lives. The seemingly mundane, but fascinating when you really boil down into it. And we're going to hear from Tim Daley, a local legend, who is a bit of a comedic stage presence. And he was gracious enough to be voluntold into filling in a gap in the schedule due to a cancellation from another speaker.
First off, I'm Tim Daley, in case any of you don't know who I am. And before I begin, really, I want to say some thank yous. I want to say thank you to Phil and Kathleen. Well, we thank them. But why am I thanking them? It's because Patrick and his plan of, well, of course, thanking Patrick. And this makes me tipsy, so this is the talk and the tipsy, right? So, but Patrick for making this happen. He did it last year, and I was a part of that last year, and that was very fun. And but then wanting to expand the venues to this year, wanting it to be here, and Christy was okay with it being here. However, she didn't have a bartender to do that. And Phil and Kathleen went out and became bartenders so that these Tipsy Talk gatherings could happen here on particular nights, this being one of them. So thank you for doing that. Kathleen is a great bartender. Phil, Phil, I understand, gets some credit as bartender, but he is not. He is not a bartender. He is the bouncer. I mean, that's what you've said, right, Phil? Yeah, that's what Kathleen has said many times. Oh, Phil doesn't bartend. Phil is the bouncer. Okay, so we're going with that. And then, again, I'd really like to thank Christy for making the bar available. And she is in Florida, hopefully enjoying herself, and that's a really wonderful thing. And the bar is great. The bar is great for Tipsy Talks. It's also great on Thursdays and Fridays. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Saturday. I mean, Wednesday and Thursday, it's Larry, and then Friday and Saturday, it's the two Jesses and Jeff sometimes, and then Monday is Jeff. And every night, and now except Sunday, the bar is open. There are things here, things are happening. So to all of that, thank you. Thank you for all making it happen. And keep coming, you know, even though you're coming to this and clearly some of you are not drinking, why don't you come another time and maybe not do that also? But you can, you know, being a body in a place adds the feel that it's like, wow, hey, there's some people here. I love it, you know? So please continue to do that. Okay, so anyway, I'm just here talking, you know? That's really all I do. I just talk. I mean, seriously, I mean, how many have you may have seen me before if you've gone to the Thai restaurant. I work at the Thai restaurant. I worked there forever, it seems. And then about a year and a half ago, I left, and but now I'm back. And if I've ever waited on you, you know that I talk, right? It's kind of like, well, and part of the experience of the Thai restaurant. How many people have been to the Thai restaurant? Wow, almost all of you, huh? You have not been? No, you're new, aren't you? New to town. Yeah, that's clear. Yeah. Even if you don't like Thai food, you need to go, just so you can raise your hand. Because, I mean, everyone else in the room did. Yeah.
I've been there.
Okay, yeah, see? All right. Yeah, well, Dave, yeah, you got to go. So anyway, part of the experience of the Thai restaurant is waiting. Isn't it? I mean, it truly is waiting. I mean, like the other night, I was there. It was slamming busy. The swimmers were here. It was really great. Everything was happening, but it was busy. And you know, she never has enough staff. She can do it. Well, yay, good for her. But I'm just, I'm not excited about it. And so I go to the tables and I just say, great to have you here. And just embrace the wait. And then one table said to me, yeah, that's fine. If we could just have, and I said, no. You can't have anything. I am not ready to serve you. I have 4 other tables ahead of you. So just sit and wait. That is the way at Lucid Thai. So anyway, I worked there in case you were wondering who I was. And so I grew up in Newport, and I went to Sacred Heart, which was the Catholic school here. And so anyway, I also had, I had done this little shtick thing here that I'm doing last year, and I told some stories, and there were some people here that were there last year, and I don't want to do the same stories, but I will. But I think that I have some different material to share. One of them was that I had this friend, France, and she and I were the same class, and when we were very young, I think we were in 2nd grade. We were young and bad, actually. So we were in 2nd grade, and we went into the church, and at that time they had the votive lights in front of the statues, and there were a lot of votives, and then there were a lot more candles up on the altar and stuff like that. So she and I lit every candle in church, which meant that to get to some of the high ones, we had to climb up onto the altar. And so we got into a lot of trouble for that. And we had to go see the Monsignor. He was not happy. And so anyway, that same person and I, many years later, wanted to get high during one of the school breaks. Well, not like a break that there was no school, but like, study hall period. So we went over to the church, and I don't know if you've ever been in St. Mary's. And it's changed a little bit, but if you go in the back door, not the one that you can just sort of walk straight in, but the one where you have to go up the stairs, there's a door there that goes up to the choir loft. You can't, it just looks like maybe a door to the basement or something, but, well, there is actually a door to the basement. And that's another story. That's a very scary place down there. But we went up to, and the choir loft staircase is in the building, but it's not in the church part, okay? So we went up, and we were right outside the door that would take you into the choir loft. Again, we're in the building, though, but not in the actual church area. And we're at the top of the stair, and we were getting high there. And it was like 4 in the afternoon, and I guess it was, it wasn't, and again, I just want to be clear, it was a break, but it wasn't like a school break. It was probably after school. I guess that's really more of what it was, because I was doing drugs, I don't remember everything. And we hear, all of a sudden, we hear the nuns, and they're coming in. And it was like, shit, oh my God, the nuns are coming. And from there, we could look down, And oh my God, there were more nuns, and it could be the drugs, but you know, there were a lot of nuns filing in, and Jesus, you know, and it was terrible. We were really trapped. We were really trapped up there. I mean, and of course, that whole chamber would have just been filled with smoke. And so, anyway, we sort of made it down and we made it out. And it was the next day that we were at school, and Sister Edmund, I don't know if any of you ever had the chance of meeting her. She was an amazing nun. She was the music teacher there, but she had taught music to actually some rather famous people, and she was well respected. I took music from her, and she takes me into the little cubicle where they had practice rooms with pianos. She takes me in there, she sits me down, and she says, she has this little French accent, she says, "So, Tim, what are you doing there?" And, "Oh, sister," I said, "please, you can't tell my parents, but France and I were smoking." "Oh, you were smoking what?" "We're smoking cigarettes, sister." "Oh, it's terrible. My father would kill me." "Oh, cigarettes, they are terrible," she says. And I'm like, shit, I'm lying to a nun. And yeah. So, you know, if I ever thought of going to heaven, it's out for now. So anyway, yeah, I lied to her. And then another time with France, we had, so, you know, up here is confession for me. Clearly, I'm sharing this with all of you. And it's just, you know, I mean, it's very therapeutic. You should try this, you know? You know, maybe the fall, you know, next year's Tipsy Talks, you know? You know, it can be, you know, I mean, if confession is good for the soul, make it that way. Or have a confession night, you know? And, yeah. You know, there'll be a lot more alcohol sold on those nights. And so anyway, France and I and a couple other people made pot brownies at my house, and we had no idea how to make those, and we clearly did not make them properly. And we just threw in like a pound of pot and some hash, and they baked, and they were really horrible. I mean, they were really, you know, it was just terrible. It was just like chocolate mush in your mouth. But we cut them up, and we shared them with the there were 5 of us, and we did this. So the plan was to take them the next day and eat them at school. So we did that, and we brought them to school, and there was one person who has never known the truth, and she is not in this room, fortunately. But she came up to us, because we're in the music room, and we're like chomping down on these brownies, and she says, "Oh, I like brownies. Oh, could I have one?" And all 3 of us that were in the room right at that moment, all 3 of us at the very same time said, "No." And she was like, "Oh." And really, she was just like, just kind of threw her arms back and was like, "Well, I'll never ask you for anything again." I was like, okay. Oh my gosh, you know, I mean, she was sweet and pure, and nothing like this should really have touched her, and nothing, and truly nothing had, or has, I guess. Yes. I think she may be a nun. And so anyway, we didn't really know what that effect would be, and if you've ever had that effect. And this is, so maybe you've picked up on it, but I sometimes smoke pot, and, or I have. But one of the things, and this is the reason that I don't do them, I don't do gummies, is because of the time release on a gummy. You know, you take it and you think, okay, that's kind of okay. I kind of function. But then a little ways into it, it's kind of like, whoa, hey. And that's what was happening with those brownies. So we had chorus, and France was the accompanist. And I sat in the back, and it was a big choir, it was a big chorus. There were probably about 40 of us. And I was in the back row, and Sister Edmund was up there, and France was behind her. And France is just, we're both experiencing this at the same time. And France is looking at me as if she and I are the only two in the room. 40 people and a nun, but we don't see them. And she's there like this on the piano. She's not playing the piano, but she's doing this. The chorus is laughing. Of course, Sister Edmund turns around and she's like, and it kind of goes back and forth like this. And we were asked to leave. Yeah. She didn't know why. She may have thought it was cigarette smoke, so we went with that. So anyway, that was my life then. If there are any kids in the room and you haven't experimented with drugs and stuff, don't. Because, or do, And, but, you could end up like me. So maybe don't. And, but it's, so, all right, so I'll tell you some stories. Let's see, the snake story.
Oh, no.
No, yeah, it's a good story. Remember that story? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. So anyway, I was living in DC. I lived in a basement apartment. It wasn't very big. I mean, this would be palatial compared to my apartment. I mean, my apartment was probably not much bigger than this area that I'm in, and probably from that chair across. And there was a small bathroom and a small kitchen and a big closet, sort of. But anyway, without my glasses, I'm virtually blind. And this one morning, and because everything is right there, I don't really need my glasses, okay? So this one morning, I get up, I sleep naked, just sharing, not a pretty sight, but just sharing. And I went into the bathroom, and the bathroom was tiny. Sink, toilet, tub, just like that, very close together, all right? So I'm standing, peeing in the toilet, and no glasses, right? And I see a little movement right there, and I'm like, oh, what's that? Again, no glasses. Standing there. So I'm like, what's that? What? Holy shit. And it was a snake head. And it was sort of poking its head out of that little hole in the wall. And I didn't even know where the hole in the wall had come from. And there it was. And I now have peed all over the wall. So I look again, and it just sort of comes out, and it sort of comes out, and then it pulls itself back in. Well, shit, I just run out of the bathroom, and I go into the kitchen. Well, first off, I put on a bathrobe, because it's like, well, there's going to be a snake there. I'm not going to be naked. And so I get some aluminum foil and a hammer. Yeah, this is why I have to have all my handiwork done. So I get this aluminum foil, and I kind of put it down by the hole there, thinking I'll just sort of shove it in, and then kind of bang it in with the hammer. And I start that, and it sort of seems to hold, but then that snake just pushes its way out and pops out the aluminum foil, and then all of a sudden it starts coming out into the bathtub. Well, I am beside myself. And so I go out of the room, close the door, and I call my landlady, Mrs. Hamilton, who at that time was probably 90. And she was a businesswoman through and through. She was just all business. And I said, Miss Hamilton, there's a snake in my bathtub. No, dear, there's no snake in your bathtub. Yes, Miss Hamilton, there's a snake in my bathtub. no dear, snakes are not allowed in the building. Well, I said, I don't know that they're allowed or not, but there's one in my bathtub right at this very moment. And she said, no dear, there is no snake. I said, Miss Hamilton, there's a snake in my bathtub, and I need this to be gotten out. And she's like, there is no need for language like that. So she says she'll send over the supers. So, you know, I really have no issue with people. People have their jobs, they do their thing, whatever. But stupid is stupid. And these two guys were stupid and stupider. Stupid and more stupid. I mean, and one of each color to go with the stupidness of this. They come, ha 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 ha, we hear you got a snake in your bathtub, ha ha ha. They're laughing back and forth. I'm like, yes, there's a snake in my bathtub. And they're like, oh no, yeah, there's no snake in your bathtub, ha 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 ha. They go into the bathroom, and then they come out, and they say, Jesus Christ, there's a goddamn snake in your bathtub. Yeah? Oh, really? Yeah, no, it just said that. And so they go out, they get like a parking sign that somebody had hit, and you know, this little small one, and they bring that in, and they go into the bathroom, and they take it, and they're cutting up the snake. Oh, so I hear boom, boom, ching, ching, boom, ching, boom, ching, ching. And now I'm up on the coffee table because this is really weird to me, and I can't really stand the sound of that. I don't know what that is. And so they kill the snake, and they bring it out, and it's big. It was a big snake, and they said to me, do you know what this is? No, I don't. You know, I don't know what it is. And they said, this is a water moccasin.
Jesus.
And they're deadly snakes.
Yeah, they are.
And I said, well, how did it get into my house? And they said, well, they're doing some construction on the road, and it probably came in through the pipes. Okay. So I called Mrs. Hamilton back to say that, you know, this has been taken care of. And she said, oh, I'm sorry, dear, that there was a snake in your bathtub. Yes, I said, yes, thank you. And she was like, well, they're not allowed. Yeah. So a few days go by, and I was young, and I did a variety of things, and so we used to go to embassy parties. We used to crash those, and those were always fun. And there was this guy who lived across the street who I saw there, and he asked me if I had heard about Mary and what had happened to her. And Mary was this weird person in our building. Turns out she had a cow, actually, in the backyard in the city. She had a cow in the backyard. And in D.C., you know, just off Connecticut Avenue. Anyway, Mary used to have these big wigs, and I thought she was just into big hair. But it was because she used to keep snakes in her wigs.
No, really?
Yeah, and this was one of her snakes. And what had happened was, she had opened up the cage to feed the snake with the mice, and the snake had gotten through the heating duct, and it had gone down, and it kind of was trying to get out, and it just kind of worked its way into my bathtub. Anyway, but it wasn't a water moccasin, it was a harmless snake, big,
dead.
But harmless, but now dead. So he was saying that to me, did you hear what happened to Mary? And then he told me about this, and I was like, oh, that is too bad. Oh, I think I see someone I know. Excuse me. I never told him I killed the snake. No. I mean, would you?
No.
No, exactly, no. So, I think my time's up.
Oh.
No, what time is it?
You got 10 minutes.
Oh, shit. Okay, so, yeah, anyway, what? Hello? Sorry. Yeah, I just, I had an interesting life. But I've come back here. I came back here to be with some elderly friends. So, I came back here long ago now. When I was young, I never wanted to live anywhere more than a couple years. You know, just move around, see something else, do something else. I just like living that way. It's not always good that way. You know, it's hard, and you have great experiences, but you end up homeless sometimes. It's a wild ride. But I was living on the West Coast, and my friends were sick, and I came back to help them, and I said I'd stay till they died. I thought 3 years, because they were very, very ill. That was in '99. But I looked after them. I encouraged them to go to the doctor. I forced Yvonne into walking and doing exercises. The doctor said she needed to walk, and so we had this little routine of walking through the rooms, and she'd be like, I mean, she was, you know, late 80s, and she was hurting, I knew that, but I was like, yeah, you gotta do it. I don't care, you're hurting, get up, go, get going, yeah, keep walking, yeah, go on. She was like, oh, I can't, I don't care. Oh my gosh, but she made it through, you know, and she lived to be over 90, you know, and so I had thought 3 years. She died in 2005, and Charlie, who had been even worse off in a way, but he died in 2010. So yeah, you know, and he was very nice, and then they left me their house. So that's how I ended up with the house, and yeah, so, and if you want to buy it, we can talk. And, yeah, so I do the Airbnb and have lots of experiences with that. And I've come to meet a lot of great people. And I like Newport. And Newport really is, you know, people talk about it the way that it was, and I was here when many of those people, what those people are talking about. I mean, I remember Main Street. I was young, but I still remember they had these great awnings that would come down on all the stores. It was really beautiful. And the parking was diagonal because, and you can't do it now, but they have because they have the brick next to the sidewalk. So if you took that out, parking could be different, like that was. And it was just nice. It was nice, but again, you know, people always want to go back, but I never wanted to go back. I mean, that's a time when you only had one car, and you only had the one phone and the dial phone, and if somebody were on it, you know.
Yeah.
And Tim, get off the phone. That never really happened to me. I had no friends. So then, yeah, but Newport's great. And if you're going to be voting, vote for someone that you like, that you think will do well. I mean, for the community. There are different people that have different traits and different talents. And I'm not endorsing anyone in particular. I just want people that keep Newport being progressive and embracing of all people.
Thank
you know,
you.
it's just that. So, yes, well anyway, I was just a fill-in person for the person that canceled. And was that person sick?
Unknown.
Okay, well, he won't be asked back. And so anyway, I'm Tim Daley. If you want to see me more, come to the Thai restaurant. I will entertain you there. That way you get to tip. Oh, also too, I just want to say one thing. Did you have a question? No. Okay. And but I am also the president of Joshua House. And Joshua House, I've always got to put a plug in for this, because Joshua House is an organization that was started 28 years ago in Ayersburg. It's not a real house, it's a concept of caring. And we help people with a hand up, not a handout. So we only help people once in a 12-month period. We get all our money from fundraising. So I am the fundraiser and the president. I am not the person that helps the people. That's Brenda Lothar. She is kind and considerate, not a pushover, and she really does help a lot of people. And I get the money for her to do that. I am because I don't like people generally and I wouldn't help them. But I will help her to help them. And so I just had this really tremendous fundraiser this past December that Kelly Stubrick here was one of the performers, and I got Kelly and there were others. Well, anyway, I'm bad, the drugs. And the drink. Oh my God, the drugs and the drink. And that's all Patrick's fault. He said that it's tipsy, so I had to be. And but anyway, I pitted these local performers against one another and in a competition. So they only had 5 minutes, way less time than I've had. And they performed way better than I have. And but I also had an auction in between while the things were being swapped out. And then I had someone, it was actually Erica Gray from the Brown Cow. She had misunderstood something I said. So she said, "You're gonna dance?" I said, "I'm not dancing." And she said, "Well, I paid $100 to see that." Well, then, of course, I was dancing. And, but then that night, I had told the audience I was going to be dancing. And then that night, someone got it going that they should take a bid on what the song that I would dance to would be. Well, that got confusing because they were drunk and they were here and they were there and they were screaming and I couldn't understand. I was telling people to shut up. I don't pay this. Well, finally I figured it out. And we got that bid up to $500. Yeah, so $600, and I danced. And Jeff was the sound person, and he knew the song that I was going to dance to, and he told Jess, who had sort of bid it for Dave and his wife, the bidding, and so they gave me the same song I was going to dance to, which was the Nutcracker Suite, yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, and dance. You got $600? Hey, I ain't dancing for anything less. Seriously. But you write a check, it doesn't bounce, we'll do it next time. So thank you all, thank you, Patrick. Please come to the Tipsy Talks. I missed the last two because I was sick, and I missed hearing Phil, and I missed the other person, and then the time before that, Mark Violet was out at Parker Pie. I missed that. Mark Violet is an incredible performer and person, and just all these great things, great stuff. And Randy here was an amazing act. I really sat up there and I thought, well, shit, that's a tough act to follow. And yeah, but I did it. And all right, maybe not. Anyway, thank you all. Have a great evening. Remember to tip your bartender. Thank you.
Tim, that was amazing.
Thank you, Tim, for saving our bacon this week. We have 3 more events before the season is over. 3 Tuesdays in a row in March. And then everybody's going to be too busy putting their garden together to gather here and enjoy other people listening. But if you think you have a story, come find me, come talk to me. We're always looking for the next round of Tipsy Talkers. And we're even going to play with some maybe speed dating version where there are going to be a few more people, a few faster stories. We're up for anything. So come talk to us. And we hope to see you in...
Was I not fast?
That was great. We're just hearing a lot of people like, well, I couldn't talk for 40 minutes. I'm like, okay, well, if you want to talk for 10, we just got to find 5 other people. So, yeah, it just becomes logistics. But again, come talk to us, and we hope to see you next time. Thank you.